Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of The Curse of the Collector. Because, of course, as you know, the curse is real. Joining us today, of course, we've got Armando Venditti from Canada. We've got from the state of Ohio, Jamie Laszlo, all the way from Scotland. It looks like the middle of the night, but it's not really the middle of the night there. We've got Mr. Davey Gallagher. And then from the great state of Texas, we've got Scott Berry. Greetings, gentlemen.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hello. Today.
Hello there.
Yeah. So we've got, since we last met with you all last month, we've, of course, accumulated some things. We have a few things each to talk about in our two turns around the Zoom dial. We're going to start with, we're going to go Scott, then we're going to move over to Davey, then Jamie, then Armando, then myself. So Scott, why don't you kick us off with your first little show and tell of the day?
All right, sir. First, let me just show off my brand new SOT wear that I got. My buddies that I have beers with on Sunday afternoons got it for me. I love it. It's got attitude and it's self-deprecating. So, you know.
Because, of course, the catchphrase is created by Chris Allo. So, yes,
of course.
He's a catchphrase factory.
He is.
Where can someone find a link to such merchandise?
Well, I'm so happy you asked, Dave, because right below Jamie and Armando, there is a little link in the video description where you can go click and see that shirt and many, many others across our merch page. We've got, here we go. Fuck, I don't remember. I got the olds because we all got the olds.
And this is a design you can get as well?
That's right.
Without the curse of a collector, I put that over.
Yep, that's the dragonfly. We got the whales. We've got the space things and the frog stuff and the metal stuff and the great. We have two really cool Monsters Den shirts, and we've got t-shirts, pullover hoodies, zip-up hoodies, beanies, caps, all sorts of stuff. So that link is down below.
It's all made by children, small children getting paid nothing. So their tiny little hands are so wonderfully dexterous that it's all wonderfully well made.
That's right.
Yeah. Slave labor.
We don't even know where they come from. They might.
They also do come in a
I think they come
variety
from
of
Estonia,
colors.
if I remember right.
They are in a variety of colors now as well. Thank you for pointing that out.
A variety of colors, you say, right? We're getting selling.
Yes. So now that we got the promotion part of the show out of the way, so Scott, your first pick of the day here.
Okay. Well, I had originally planned to talk about this particular album. I just bought it on Discogs, Dark Magus by Miles Davis. Ordered it. I've only listened to it once in its entirety so far, but I think I need to give it a proper listen, a more full listen before I could really speak fully about it. I'll
need about 14 beers before you listen to that. That's how I feel.
Yeah, and maybe something else too.
Well, I was going to say a few tabs. And
I don't do that. So 14 beers equals one joint.
I'm not talking about joints.
Miles' albums of that later fusion period, the 73 to 75 period, they tend to be more intense, more kind of discordant, require more patient listening. And I like what I'm hearing so far. I've got Pangea, I've got Agartha, I like those, but I think I need to give it a little more time for a proper listen.
All of those are so different from each other. That's the crazy thing, man. Around that time period.
To some degree, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. The guy was just constantly branching out. But that brings me to this, what I'm going to be talking about today.
Oh, yeah.
Miles Davis, Complete Bitches Brew Sessions.
Yes, I've seen that. Expensive.
4 CD box set.
Armando will have it in an hour.
Hell no.
It's got more than double the amount of music that was on the original 2 LP, 2 CD set. I first bought this on vinyl in the summer of '87, and I used to play it when I was home from college that summer, and I had a roofing job, and I'd come home and I'd put that on the headphones, and it blew my mind. It just took me to a whole different world. Just never heard anything like that before. Bought it on CD in the '90s, and I bought this set about a year ago at Half Price Books, and I got it for a mere $20.
Wow.
What?
Excellent condition.
Good Lord.
Just a few dings on the corners of the slipcase.
How many discs?
4.
It's 4 total. It's got a huge ass book in here.
Is that the reissue CDs with the kind of metal spines?
Yeah, it's got metal.
Yeah.
Binding. and got all these cool photos from the sessions.
You and I need to go shopping, Scott.
Oop, there's the man himself.
See, Jamie, you were right.
I know I'm right.
I know.
Armando's like, damn it.
Chick Corea,
I'm not saying a word.
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera. Strangely enough, I saw this at another half price books a few months later, and it was going for 80. Like,
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
is more like it, really.
yeah, you never know what you're gonna find at half price books. It could be crazy high, it could be a great deal.
Yeah, they are. Like,
Just,
And I don't
just a
have
little
that version,
footnote.
but I would imagine if you are a fan of jazz and jazz fusion from that time period, that book has probably got loads of pictures of Miles hanging out with Chick and Tony Williams and Billy Cobham and John McLaughlin and Wayne
Yeah,
Shorter
the
and all
whole
these
gang's
cats
in
that were,
there.
Herbie Hancock. I mean, it's
Herbie
like
Hancock,
the
yeah.
list of people who recorded on those sessions is like absolutely
Do you know-
mind-blowingly ridiculous.
Absolutely.
The annoying thing about the deluxes, though, is they're not even the only deluxe versions. I mean, there's also the 3 CD, 1 DVD set that's got a brilliant concert on it. And that's
that
got
one-
unreleased stuff as well.
Yeah,
That's
there's
in
so
a
many.
book, DVD sized book, which uses the alternate cover, the gatefold cover. I mean, so you need to keep both of them to keep the DVD. You'd never end with Miles. I don't know how.
No.
But you got the slipcases, for the CDs bound into the book. I mean, it's a nice little package there. And the music, obviously, I've been a fan for a while. I can only imagine the reaction of longtime fans in 1970, people that have been following since the 50s, hearing this. I mean, it's loud, it's got electric instruments, heavy guitar from John, and the psychedelic keyboards. You got Herbie Hancock, Chick Corea, Joe Zawinul. It was a double album with only 6 songs on it. 2 of them take up the whole sides of an LP. It was like nothing he or anyone had ever done before. Miles had been listening to Jimi Hendrix, Santana, James Brown, Sly and the Family Stone, and he went and incorporated those kind of sounds, the rock and funk elements, into his own music. And the band, like I said, you had McLaughlin, Correa, Hancock, Zawinul, Wayne Shorter on sax, Dave Holland on bass, Jack DeJohnette, Lenny White, and Billy Cobham, all on drums.
Everyone a band leader in their own right. Every single one.
We're getting to that, yeah. The list goes on. One of Miles's great gifts was just getting the right musicians to be in his bands, and he knew how to bring out the best in the musicians that played with him. And within the next year or two, several of these guys would go on to form their own bands and put out mind-blowing albums of their own.
Yep.
McLaughlin and Cobham and Mahavishnu, Shorter and Zawinul and Weather Report, Correa and White and Return to Forever, and Herbie Hancock fronting his own electric funk bands. And this was the jazz rock fusion explosion. And those bands were the fallout from that explosion.
Hey,
And
Scott, I got a question for you. Do they, you got 4 CDs there. Do they mess with the sequencing at all, or add, like, because obviously there was a ton of stuff recorded those sessions.
Exactly. Yeah, there's actually more bonus than there was of the original stuff. The sequencing of the original album, the first 6 tracks are the 6 tracks in the right order of Bitches Brew. And about halfway through the second CD is where the bonus stuff starts.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because I know like in the CD age, you could fit most of Bitches Brew on one disc,
one album. Yeah,
right. But the bonus stuff is amazing too. I mean, and you've got all the great players that I mentioned on there. A few of the tracks also had been released on other albums, but most of them had been previously unreleased. There's like 2 or 3 that were on Live Evil and Big Fun, but definitely to hear the entirety of this. And the muse was hitting hard at that time, and the ideas were coming fast and furious. And what amazing results this collaboration behind. Just can't say enough about it. Great stuff.
It's a good score. Yeah, that's a monumental.
Hell of a score. If you don't have it, get it. I mean, if you're a Miles fan, if you're a fan of this fusion period, you got to have this.
I mean, he
I-
probably has more box sets than anybody, but I know there's definitely complete session album box sets for On the
There
Corner.
are several others. Yeah, I've seen In the Silent
Jack
Ways
Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jack
By
Johnson.
the way, Scott, I found that set on Amazon through a secondary seller, not through Amazon Direct, for $350.
Whoa!
Wow.
Yeah,
So-
did it sell for that? That's the question, you know.
That's just it.
Yeah,
And
there
you
you
know what?
go.
You got
Yeah.
a bloody steal. You got a bloody deal.
Yeah,
searching on
secondhand
Unreal.
buyers, sellers do that on Amazon all the time. You see a
Yeah.
CD, it's like $75. You go on eBay, it's 15.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you go to eBay, you can look
yeah,
at completed
And-
auctions and things, and
And
see what
sometimes
actually.
the shipping costs are more than what they're charging for the product.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
That's true.
Sometimes. So you got a
Yeah.
really good deal on that.
Yeah, I was blown away. And then, yeah, like I said, I saw it like a month or two later at the same chain, and they're wanting 80 for it. You know, so,
I always look at the
no telling.
Frank Zappa and Miles Davis, to me, always kind of come up because they're both these absolute musical geniuses who had all these
Absolutely.
great bands with great musicians who went on and did
Yeah.
other things. But they
Yeah.
would regularly, when they would assemble all these musicians and record these albums, they would record everything. Yep, there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
And so
I'm always
we've
blocking
seen
them.
so much in recent years from Miles and from Frank, these like complete recordings of these classic albums of theirs where they throw in all the other session tracks.
Mhm.
And it's like, so again, how many times are you going to keep buying these? Well, as long as they keep
Mm.
releasing them, I guess, and as long as there's new material that we haven't heard.
Yeah, now I'm probably going to have to start looking for the In a Silent Way and Jack Johnson sets,
Jack Johnson's his masterpiece for me, man.
That's my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah,
Love it.
Yeah. Great.
McLaughlin is just off the charts on that.
He's so good.
Yeah.
He's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks for
I'm
sharing.
about to
that.
file chapter 11 in my situation here with everything I bought lately. So
And
it's-
one thing they also had in common, Zappa and Miles, is they would take bits from different sessions and stitch them together and make. So that was not what was
True.
recorded in the studio. It would be stitched together, and they'd make their own kind of
Yes.
super tape of So
Yeah.
very
And
similar.
Fillmore, I
sometimes
think
they
it
would
is
take
like that.
studio recordings and live recordings and put them together.
And
in one
add them
CD.
together.
Yeah.
Miles did that too. I knew Frank did.
Yeah, Miles, especially Jack Johnson. That big jam. That's about 10 different takes. Just bump up.
But there's some live, some of it's from live.
I'm not sure about Jack Johnson. I think that's all studio jam stuff. 'Cause
Isn't
Miles
live
was-
at the Fillmore
Miles was late.
stitched together pretty much?
One of those. Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well, but they made
All
it
right,
work.
too.
And if you didn't know that, you could never tell from
No,
listening.
it's much more seamless than it is with Frank, who kind of points it out sometimes. It was like Frank being Frank. Yeah.
All right, David, we'll move over to you.
Okay. Thank you. Happy New Year to everybody, of course. I think this is actually no, it's too late to say Happy New Year. Never mind that. Happy Easter when it comes. First of all, you have to excuse the lighting situation, folks watching at home, as I explained to the gentleman. The big light, as we call it, the main light in the middle of the room went out just before we were about to shoot. So let me know in the comments, what do you call the main light in the middle of the room?
the
We call
overhead
it the
light.
Right, I've never heard overhead light in my life. It's the big
Overhead
light.
light.
Is this called
Right,
Big
so it's
Light?
the big light, but it's the same size bulb as every other one. So I'm not quite sure why we call it the big light, apart from it's.
Do
Anyway,
you have
so
ceiling
let's-
fans over there?
No, of course not.
Well,
as if we're not cold enough in Scotland. Jesus Christ.
that's what we call them, because there's usually attached to a ceiling fan. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I have here.
Anyway, so put that in the comments, folks. And does anybody else call it the big light? I'm sure other people do in England.
Nobody
Um,
calls it the big light.
I think this is something my mum told me, and I'm just anyway. So I ordered something from Amazon this week, and they sent me the wrong thing. Of all the things they could have sent me, they sent me Prince Harry's new book, Spare. Right, so I contacted and I said, right, okay, Amazon, this is not what I wanted to buy. And they said, don't worry, we'll sort you a replacement. And they said, I said, no bother. It's for the curse, and we're recording it soon. And they said, well, I don't think they knew what I meant by that, to be honest. But
Sure they didn't.
but they said, we'll get you sorted with a replacement. And they sent me another copy of Prince Harry's book.
oh, good lord.
Jesus
So I
Christ.
now have a spare of spare. And I don't want one copy. So That's not my pick, believe it or not. My pick is not Prince Harry's autobiography that I now have 2 copies of and no intention of keeping either one.
I'd love to know what you actually did order.
Yeah, it must have like 1 digit in the ISBN number that's the same or something. Or Amazon's way,
Something.
It could
or
be.
they're
It
just
could
trying to
be,
get
yeah.
rid of as many copies of this pile of shit as they possibly can. Anyway, my actual first pick. I love documentaries about music. Obviously, my own channel is films and music, so melds perfectly in the middle. And this, I hope people don't take it as a plug for a friend, but is also a friend of the channel in a way, because Marco from the Contrarians made a documentary on the band Mystique, Standing on the Firing Line. It's now out on DVD. And I had spoken to Marco on my channel, did an interview with him about promoting this when it was having its premiere and things. And at the time, he'd said, love to do a physical release. And I said, well, me too. Physical media is my thing, and I'm not going to get to Canada to watch your documentary anytime soon. And so, yeah, here it is. So Mystique, for those unaware who don't follow Contrarians, it's a band from Hamilton, Ontario, who came in the mid-'80s and started as very much... they all look like Iron Maiden types. There's a guy who's got the exact Bruce Dickinson haircut, the Nigel Tufnell from Spinal Tap haircut from the early days. Ray, the lead singer, can sing like Dio. He can sing like Gillan. He's just got such a versatile voice that it's, you thought, why did they not really make it? And that's really the crux of this documentary. How did they make it? Did they make it a bit? Was it we just can't get a deal? Was it, as Martin points out quite a lot, was it we're stuck in Canada and nobody's interested kind of thing? So this is an extended version, which is 2 hours and 20 minutes. And it goes from the inception of the band right through to pretty much the resurrection of their legacy. It explores how they start as this proto fantasy metal act, like very early Dokken, like very early Metal Blade kind of band that you would get, and then had to evolve with, we all know how much rock just kept changing in the 1980s. So by the time they changed, what happens? Music changes around them without them even noticing. And so by the time they'd get one thing done, the next thing would come along and they'd all of a sudden be lapped by hair metal at the time. So they were told, you need to go hit more hair metal. So they start out as, this is their EP called Black Rider, which is phenomenal. And it's been expanded into pretty much a full album. And this is very like Swedish music at the time, Swedish rock music, a bit like early Europe before, as you always point out, Pete, don't just think of the Final Countdown, early Europe, that kind of scene. But it's dark and it's progressive and there's keyboards on it, which obviously was not a heavy metal thing at the time, and people were, people didn't really know, what is this? How do you market this? And we're also getting towards the periods where EPs were even really a thing, to be honest. But it was a good tactical promotional thing to do to try and further their career. So they were told, right, okay, we like that, but what's next? So they go to France, of all things, and start recording stuff for another EP, I Am the King. And they're told when they come back with that, you need to be more modern. And they thought they were modern, but in the 2 weeks they were in France, the music scene had changed, and all of a sudden everybody's got hair out to there, and they're all looking like Cinderella. So they get told, right, you need to look like Poison, you need to look like Motley Crue, and that was not them at all. But they did. They all started wearing the 300 garments, and everything was ripped, and no jeans. It was all kind of spandexy stuff, and all that kind of thing. And I don't want to go into how the band just kind of ends and why they did decide to call it a day, but essentially, without going into the nuts and bolts of it, music changed around them, and they didn't all have their hearts on where music went next. And the sad part is some of them had their heart and where music would go very, very shortly after that. So although they didn't want to be Cinderella and didn't want to be Poison, they wouldn't have minded being Blue Murder or Guns N' Roses when the Denims came back and things like that. They wouldn't have minded that kind of rock sounds, but they didn't want to be this, basically. They didn't want to be that. They wanted to be this, early Quiet Riot kind of look and sound. So it's a phenomenal documentary by Marco, and I'm not just saying that because he's a friend. It's a terrific documentary. He's obviously someone who has watched 1.5 million documentaries about music as well, because he knows how to shoot them. The interviews are all professionally done. It's really well edited for first time movie director.
He makes us look good on the Contrarians when he does his editing.
He tries his best, Jamie, but I'm not sure he can quite do that with me and you. But
Makes us look better.
He makes us look better, yeah. And on this you get to see the premiere as well, when it did premiere in September, which was like, wow, the turnaround on this must have been really fast, because you get to see Martin on stage introducing it, and then Marco and the band come on for take their curtain call. And it's one of those documentaries where I don't want to use the word nice, because that always sounds like it's nice, but it's one of those documentaries where it's not about, and then we get into the heroin, and then the bad times. It's not about that kind of thing. It's more about just the togetherness of a band and the celebration of music itself. It's not about the rise and fall of. It's just about the career of local legends who have been resurrected, and Marco pulled a few hundred people to the premiere, enough interest to put that out. And Martin was involved because he was partially responsible for the interest in the band becoming a thing again, because he used this in one of his very first records guides. He used the picture from this because he just loved the that kind of album
I've never
imagery.
heard of them.
Yeah,
I YouTube them. They're not bad. I think you like them.
Yeah, and
So
there is
Jamie,
that
where can
interview.
folks get that?
So, if you just Google "Standing in the Firing Line" Mystique DVD, you'll get straight to Marco's site. I tried it before we got on, but there is www.mystique Mystique black rider online store.com. So that's a bit of a mouthful.
Drop that link down in the comments below.
Yeah. So again, just Google the name. It's probably easier, but or just rewatch what I said and type it out. It's got a rewind function.
There you go. Yeah.
Why is it going to repeat it? You just repeat it yourself.
How long is the original cut?
I don't know, but this says it's an expanded version. And when I spoke to Marco, he said he wasn't even sure he'd have enough interest to put this out. So I'm really glad he did. And on that same site, you can also purchase this, which is they still call it the EP, even though it's now 10 tracks. And they've also got the I Am the King EP, which is on vinyl for the first time ever, but it's a pretty penny. It's a pretty penny, so I've not got that. But yeah, Marco's done a terrific job, and it's just another great music documentary for people who want to see the bands that could have been. It's like an anvil that don't feel sorry for themselves. Who are happy with the little bit they did do. They didn't change the world, but they tidied up the neighborhood.
Well,
and
it's story to tell. So that's
So it's really, really highly recommended. And Marco's a lovely guy, so we'll all support Marco.
Cool. Well, thanks for sharing that. Awesome.
Cool.
All right, Jamie, as we move our way down.
All right. I got a theme today. These aren't necessarily things that I bought recently, but these are recent thoughts that I've had in my head over the last few days. First off, this would be kind of like 2 plugs in one, which sounds like something you'd buy at your local sex store, but it's not. It's 2 plugs in one. Metal Collector Gathered Tales from Headbangers is what I got from Martin Popoff, and he sent me this because I bought his gorgeous tear down the house Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon 50th
I got my
anniversary
copy
book.
yesterday.
And he said, well, I have one with a ding corner. If you buy that, I'll give you a free book. I figure I'll take it off his hands and get me a free book. And why it's two plugs in one for Martin, is he wrote in it to Jamie the Let's Get Physical handbook. So that's my Facebook page that's dedicated to collecting physical media and other
Never
things.
heard of it.
So yeah, so I thought that was really cool. And I'm glad I got the ding corner, because that's worth a ding corner. And then on my Let's Get Physical page, Davey posted yesterday or the day before, I watched it yesterday, a documentary that was made in 2000 by a guy named Alan Zawai. And it's just simply called Vinyl. And it's 23 years old, but everything still holds true today. And vinyl wasn't even that big of a thing in 2000 or 1999 when he was recording it.
Right.
But it is so blunt and painfully, brutally honest. He says all the things that we might think for a second and then just bury down in our soul, and we don't want to think about that anymore. It's basically a movie about collecting records when it's not about the music whatsoever. And he's saying in it, this has nothing to do with the music. And if you're sitting there watching me bitching, am I not talking about the music? That's what this isn't about. It's fascinating. It's a fascinating look. And he interviews all kinds of people who collect music. And there are some characters in that film.
Yeah,
so
Harvey Picar from American Splendor. He's one of the characters. Yeah, he's in there. Harvey Picar.
Yes, and the dude, the one dude looks like the psycho from Human Centipede Sequence 2. Is that what's called Sequence 2? Part 2 or whatever it is. But it got me thinking, and I wanted to get into the mind a little bit of the collector, or get into the mind of this collector, at least.
It's good that
when it's less about the music, maybe. And for example, this Leaf Hound album. Now, people might see that and go, oh, original copy? No. Oh, it's the same music, though, right? So why does it matter? This is a $22 record, repressed, I don't know, maybe 2019, 2018. The original copy goes for about $7,000. Why? Why is it $7,000? Why has it got to be that much? It's not really about the music anymore, is it? Because if it was, you just buy this for $22 and be happy.
The collectible market, it's supply and demand. There's might not be many of them. The demand is great.
Yeah. Although he goes into more why are you even buying it when you're not going to listen to it? You know, it's one of those kind of exploration.
I'm with you.
What hole are you filling in your life?
Hold on to your pants, Davey. I'm going to get there. So, this album, the first Atomic Rooster album, this is original UK pressing in
$7,000
mint condition. Sounds beautiful when I play this. And this music is dated, but it's so charming in its dated kind of way. I was talking to Martin Popoff like a week ago about some things, and I was talking about proto metal. And the best way I describe proto metal is I don't talk about its sound. I don't say, it's heavy, blah, blah, blah. What I say is it sounds like a bunch of guys who found this new sound of heaviness and they don't know what to do with it. They're throwing shit against the wall and seeing what sticks. And that's the charm of early proto metal. Listening to these guys trying to figure shit out on record. It's great. They don't know what to do with the ballad. You know, you listen to the Dust album, Heart Attack, the ballad on there. What's it called? You couldn't even tell that was a hard rock band doing that ballad. They just don't have it down yet. They don't know how to do a ballad yet, some of these guys, but it's great. And that's why I love it. But I could always listen to the album on my little box set right here. Same mix, you know, same UK mix without guitar. But when you listen to this, you feel like, you know, this came out a couple of years ago. But when you listen to this, you feel like you're going back in time with the album closer to the source. You're almost going back and you're in the studio with them almost because of how early it was pressed. Maybe I'm being too romantic about the whole thing, but that's where I'm at in my brain. I bought this Sir Lord Baltimore album on a repress. Yeah, $22. About 2 years later, I came across an original pressing. mint condition. Are you kidding me? This is not going to get listened to anymore. This is a carbon copy. This doesn't count anymore. This is, you almost feel like the band is in the room with you when you listen to the original pressing, because you're just getting closer, going back in time. Talked about Miles Davis. This is a nice little kind of blues set, 2-disc set. It's got a lot of bonus things on there. I got the box set downstairs with every Miles Davis Columbia album in it.
Here.
But I got an original pressing. And it's not perfect. It's got the clicks. It's got a little surface noise. But I tell you what, when you listen to this, what is this, 1959? And it's got the old what do they call it?
6A.
Yes. The label. Yeah.
The original label, yeah.
This is the best way to put it. You can download, you can probably bring up images, you can, I don't know, there's so many comic book apps out there. You could probably bring up Amazing Fantasy number 15 anywhere and read it. That's the first appearance of Spider-Man.
Right.
I'm sure it'll be crisp, the colors will pop. It'll be wonderful to read it. You're getting a little bit of history reading it. Or you could read a beat up original copy that's barely hanging together and page through that and read it. What would you rather do? Go online and read it, or read the banged up copy? Right.
You've got two serious comic book guys sitting in the Zoom right now.
If money were no
100% know what
object,
you're talking about.
yeah, go for the
Even
beat
if
up.
you didn't have to buy it, somebody's just going to put it in front of you. Which one are you going to read? Off my iPad or off this beat up original copy?
Point made.
We will
Now,
check out
don't
that
get me
beat up
wrong,
copy
I still
and be
listen to
as early
this.
as possible with that. And yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I still
A
listen
copy
to
you're
this.
describing still costs more than my house.
Oh, yes. I
Yeah,
saw a
so-
copy today, 7.0 for $1.5 million.
Yeah.
7.0 is pretty good. It's hard to
Yeah,
get
that's
a
a good
comic
one,
off the
yeah.
rack
Yeah.
new at a 7.0.
I mean, you're probably talking about a 2.0 at best, and even that's still going to be more than my house probably. Yeah.
So that's the mind of this collector on certain things like that. I don't know if that sounds crazy or not.
Yeah, I mean, no, I totally
Makes
get it.
sense.
It's crazy,
Yeah.
but it is the curse. It's part of the curse, right?
Well, do you know, they actually use that word in it. Towards the end, somebody says, "I just feel like it's a curse."
It's a
And,
curse. Yes, they say it a couple times.
He's not using it in a like the way we will in a jovial way. He's actually saying it feels like it's too much. That he can't walk past a record store. He has lost relationships because it's why you buying so damn much. You've got that too
No,
many
I get you.
times, and so it really explores some people are filling a gap in their lives part of the
Yeah.
darker
yes.
side of the we obviously
I
don't
gotta
get
watch
into.
that after this.
Well,
show.
I think they don't bring this up, but maybe there's a lot of people out there who don't have real goals in life. They're just kind of drifting through life. They got this stupid middle of the road job, gives them a paycheck, puts food in their fridge, roof over their head, no drive. But when you have a holy grail, it fills that gap and gives you drive to go find it.
Yeah.
And then when you get it, accomplishment. So since you're accomplishing nothing in your real life that matters, this is your sense of accomplishment, filling that gap.
Yeah, I mean, it's
And
a good
what's-
point. Both you
Sorry,
and David, I think that the curse can be many things to many people. We definitely do joke about it on here, and yeah, we do buy a lot of stuff, but there are people who take collecting to levels that we probably don't even imagine.
Yeah,
Right.
astronomical. Yeah.
There's a guy in that film who collects every single K-Tel album. Remember K-Tel? All the hits
Bloody
of
hell,
today.
yeah.
And you can pull
And a
one
bunch
out
of
of his huge box of K-Tel albums, and he will list all the songs in order, any single one. That is School's Out by Alice Cooper, and Dreamweaver by Gary, whoever the fuck sang it.
Gary Wright.
Sang Dreamweaver.
Okay, right, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Gary Wright.
That is the
yeah,
song
it's
he mentions
amazing.
as well. That's quite weird, yeah.
It's kind of like if you saw the Star Trek documentary Trekkies,
Yeah.
like that, but with albums.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say even darker because some of these
Obsession
people
takes
are.
many forms.
It's
are
on
really-
YouTube. Armando, you don't have to
Yeah.
buy it. It's on YouTube. Watch it for free.
Yeah,
Jamie, I
vinyl,
will
just
not
vinyl.
buy it. I promise you.
Do you know it's also a time capsule in its own right because you've got people in there saying, I've been looking for a copy of the Alice Cooper album to actually find the panties in it, and I've been looking at that for that for years. You think, God, now he could just go into Discogs and just go down the listings, and original
Right.
copy still
Yeah,
has panties, and
it's
then
true.
just hit.
It's
And
true.
the main guy
You know?
tapes all his expensive records on tape and then listens to the tape and
Oh,
Yeah.
file
really?
away
Oh, God.
the nice records. It's a must watch.
So I gotta
brilliant.
have it. I'm not gonna listen to it. I probably won't even look at it, but I have to have it. Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, and I'll get to that on my next go around.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. All right, Armando.
Okay, well, where should I begin? Okay, I know what to do. Okay. As much as this was another prolific month in this household, and again, when I say prolific, I mean expensive. I was looking through I was cleaning up in this room, actually. On the bed behind me, you probably see some CDs that are stacked up. I went through I found, for my first selection, I found a couple of CDs that I bought like 9 months ago, but I really only listened to them once. Really didn't give them much of a listen, but I wanted to put a bit of a spotlight on them. And it's on the Canadian band Harmonium from Montreal, Quebec, formed in 72 to 78. They were a progressive rock band. Excuse me. They were fronted by lead singer and guitarist Serge Fiori. And I was looking up the listing of the band members. There were like 9 or 10 band members in that group at one point or another. They released 3 studio albums. I have here 2 of I have the second. This one. Let me just grab it here.
There you go.
Second album. The the title is so long that I will not even try to begin to.
I've had that Armando for like 30
pronounce it.
years, and
Yes,
I
yes.
can't even.
Yes, the title translates to "If We Needed a Fifth Season." The shortened French title is Les Cinq Saisons. All right. This was released April 15th, 1975 on Polydor. They signed a deal with Polydor. Again, progressive rock, 5 cuts on the album. The instrumentation, the playing on this album is nothing short of spectacular. Very intricate technical passages. God, Mellotron galore. Like unbelievable, dripping with Mellotron. It's a concept album. The first 4, there are 5 tracks. The first 4 tracks represent each season, winter, spring, summer, fall. The 5th track, which is I guess you call it the centerpiece of the album. It clocks in at 17 minutes and change. It describes if they had a 5th season, right? It comes in little various parts. So think about 5 parts. Again, this this band was very popular in the Francophone community in Quebec. I read that they that they opened for Jethro Tull in 76. They also, the next year, because I bought these 2 together, they released what is believed to be called in Quebec as known as a masterpiece. Their 3rd album, Leptade, okay, double album, released through Sony, 11 cuts, 7 core tracks, which are, the lengthy pieces, with 4 interludes throughout the album. Again, this album alone sold 450,000 copies in Quebec. Okay. What I can tell you about the music is, again, it is intricate, complicated, but also they started out as a folk band, but for these two albums, they moved into more of a progressive rock feel. But there's also, for me, kind of a classical element to it in their arrangements and in their presentation of the music. And, people say, oh, I can't listen to anything that's beyond, that's in a different language. Ladies and gentlemen, give it a chance. If you can get beyond the French vocals, these two albums are beautiful.
Yeah,
And I also have another prop here. The CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation in Toronto, did a 3-part documentary on Canadian pop music in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. They have it released on 3 DVDs. Harmonium are featured on this DVD here. This Beat Goes On. It's a 90-minute documentary. And it's, for me, I go back to watch this every once in a while because I want to be reminded about what Canadian pop music back when stuff I used to listen to. And it features folk, pop, rock, progressive, punk, all the stuff that was done in Canada. So there's 3 volumes, and I will put in the comment section all the names of the 3 volumes of their DVDs. If you want to get them, they're on it. This is on Amazon. These 2 CDs I got on Amazon for Leptod. I got for like $29 because it's a double disc. And Les Cinq Saisons, I got for like $15. Right? I had a lot of stuff that came in, as people would probably have seen through pictures I put on Jamie's Facebook page, but I didn't have enough time to listen to them, like to really get used to them. So I thought I'd dive into my other stuff and just show stuff that really needs to be shown, really needs to be showcased a little more, right? So, and I mean, Pete talked about Harmonium about last year sometime. Yeah. A while back. But this documentary came out in 2009. Again, you can get this on Amazon.ca, and it's only $26.99. So invest some time, and if you want to get into something different that you haven't heard, take a chance. You might be surprised.
Yeah, Harmonium are really cool. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. They kind of combine like folk and prog and kind of classical, which I think a lot of times they get called like a chamber rock band, because that's kind of like what they sound like. They have all these members playing all these different instruments, acoustic and electric, and quite beautiful stuff. They're not the most aggressive prog band, but they're definitely gorgeous. The music
sounds like an excellent choice to support Jethro Tull at that period.
Oh yeah.
And there were, just very quickly, there were 2 other bands that were around on the Quebec music scene. One of them was Canoe, Canoe, which they were like a jazz fusion progressive band. I sort of compare them to Jean-Luc Ponty in that vein. Another one was Beau Dommage, which they were
the big cheese, the nice cheese. Oh, fromage, isn't it?
Fromage.
Dommage, not fromage. Dommage.
Well, I'm still thinking about your last choice, wasn't it? Isn't it Canoe just canoe? That's how you spell canoe. It is, isn't it?
Pronounced canoe.
But it's a canoe. Canoe.
I always need the spotlight, David. There we go.
It looks like he literally is in a spotlight.
That's my
Canoe is just the word canoe.
And one more band I'll throw out there from Canada from that time period is Manage.
Manage, okay.
Manage, also very good, very similar kind of.
Menage.
Yeah, Menage.
See, this is what talking French does to us. It turns us into wild animals.
I'm just an American guy. What do I know? I pronounce everything wrong.
I don't know what we've been talking about for the last 3.5 minutes.
I know. Blame Canada.
No idea.
No, but definitely check out those harmonium albums. All three are really good, actually. The first one is the folkiest of the three.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Second and
Yeah,
third.
so it's harmonium because we didn't get the
Harmonium.
harmonium. So that's funny because that's just obviously a normal word. So they've not used a French name for the band.
Yeah, yeah.
So but they never sung in English at all, even though they never used a French name.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to go to Davy's neck of the woods for my first pick here, and actually, it's a band.
Bring a bulb if you have one.
What's that?
Bring a bulb if you have one, will you?
Yeah, exactly. But I'm going to go back to kind of what Jamie was talking about before about the kind of the charm of some of these like late 60s, early 70s, like kind of like proto metal heavy rock bands who just were like a bunch of guys that got together and maybe made an album and just trying to figure it all out. And up until a couple months ago, I never heard of this band at all. Never heard. And I'm pretty good when it comes to all these like underground heavy bands of that time period. So the band, like I said, is from Scotland. The band is called Writing on the Wall, and the CD that I picked up is called The Power of the Picts. So, of course, you know, if it's a heavy rock band from somewhere in the UK, late 60s, early 70s, and they got a skull on the front, I'm instantly interested because that's kind of like my wheelhouse, right? So this is a 2-disc set, which has the only album they ever released, which was called The Power of the Picts. And then it's got a second disc, which is called Buffalo, that contains like demo recordings that they recorded before they released the first album and stuff because they were working on a second album that never got released. And so all of that's on here on disc 2, which is called Buffalo. So you get a lot of stuff on here, and I'll open up the book. Davey, have you ever heard of these guys?
Yes, because one of them went on to be in Maggie Bell's band.
Oh, okay.
In her when she's Henry Chrysalis. Yeah. Okay. So after she left Stone the Crows.
So there they are right there. So as far as what the music sounds like, no, it doesn't sound like Nazareth to my ears, but it's kind of heavy like that. Whereas I think Nazareth did lots of kind of like blues and boogie and folky stuff. I think these guys were more of the heavy blues rock type of thing, but they also like did some prog stuff, like especially like The Power of the Picts, the main album, the one release, is more of just a good like heavy rock, lots of big fuzz tone guitars, pretty aggressive vocals. It's really good. It's really good. It's from its time, but it's really good. Whereas a lot of the tracks on the Buffalo side are like kind of all over the place. And there's even some prog. There's a couple tunes that have like this huge King Crimson Mellotron waves and whatnot. And it's definitely a little more varied. It's really good. I mean, it's a cool curiosity from the time period. Like I said, the original album came out in 69, and the disc 2 tracks cover recordings from 68 through 73 or 72. So you kind of get all of the history of this band all in one collection. I got this from a guy on eBay. I think it was like $20 plus shipping, something like that. So definitely worthwhile. It's on the ORK Records, never heard of them. And it's definitely worth checking out if you're into the whole kind of proto-metal scene in Europe of this time period. Like I said, they're from Scotland. So Writing on the Wall is the band, The Power of the Picts, Picts.
Picts is the original name for Scots.
Oh,
so
there you go.
It's just the Battle of the Scots. It's the people that came over from Ireland were the Picts, and they settled here and interbred with Vikings and made Scots.
If you look really carefully, that's actually not an eyebrow. That's the band standing on top.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
So
that's cool, actually.
Yeah,
that's their only album. Did you say?
This is their only album, but like I said, it's a 2-disc set, so you get all the other stuff they recorded but never officially released. So yeah, well worth checking out. It's highly enjoyable. So
very cool.
That will go back to Scott.
All right. Well, my second pick by a band that gets a good bit of love on SOT, great heavy hard rock band that came out of Ireland in the 70s and released a slew of classic albums, including a highly regarded live album. And I'm talking, of course, about
Haste.
And my pick is the Live and Dangerous DVD CD box, or not really box set, but set. This was released in 2007. Just picked this one up at Half Price Books a couple of weeks ago, about $10, I think. I'd never seen it before, but I knew I had to have it. It's one of those impulse buys, and
I
I'd really
don't know about that.
my Thin Lizzy collection since I started watching SOT about 3 years ago. But I've had Live and Dangerous for a long time, and I've loved that album forever. And it's definitely one of the best live albums of its era, if not of all time. So it seemed like a good time to discuss this because, as I'm sure many of you are aware, there's an 8 CD box set of Live and Dangerous coming out in a couple of weeks.
Mine's coming next week.
Sure, people got it pre-ordered already. And it contains several sets.
Spotlight back, Armando.
God forbid.
So that's got several sets from their 77 to 78 tour, and but there are no DVDs or Blu-rays included. So if you're a big fan and you don't already own this, you might want to consider seeking it out. The DVD contains footage of 11 songs from the Live and Dangerous album. No, it doesn't contain all 17, so I guess you might dock a couple of points for that. But what's there is excellent. And of course, this is the lineup with the classic lineup: Phil Lynott, bass and vocals, Scott Gorham on guitar, Brian Robertson on guitar, and Brian Downey on drums. What many consider, the classic lineup of the band. And the songs from the set list from this is Rosalie, Boys Are Back in Town, Emerald, Dancing in the Moonlight, Massacre, Still in Love with You, Don't Believe a Word, Are You Ready, Sha-La-La, Baby Drives Me Crazy, and Me and the Boys. And but wait, there's more. The points that we took away, we might gain them back for including a second live set in the extras. It's got what's called the Sight and Sound concert, which was done for the BBC in 1983.
Sight and Sound, yeah.
And with wait for it, drinks ready, John Sykes on guitar, replacing Robertson.
I got my coffee, so let me take.
Actually, replacing Snowy White, who replaced Robertson.
Right, correct,
yeah.
And we have Gary Moore in there somewhere too.
Tuck my sip.
But there are 8 songs in that set. Jailbreak, this is the one. Cold Sweat, Sun Goes Down. Hello, we lose.
We lost Jamie.
Lost Jamie. All right, he'll pop
Jamie,
back.
what the hell?
He's having internet issues.
Oh, there he is. Okay. Don't Believe a Word. Did I say Still in Love with You? Don't Believe a Word. Are You Ready? Sha-La-La. I'm reading the wrong damn thing.
So that sounds familiar.
I thought it did. Yeah. Okay. Jailbreak,
okay.
This is the one. Cold Sweat, Sun Goes Down, Holy War, Boys Are Back in Town, Rosalie, and Baby Please Don't Go. That's the right one.
You get a nice selection
Yeah.
of some of the lightning tracks.
Yeah, it's cool that you get the different eras there. And it also includes 5 Top of the Pops performances. Yes, lip sync, but cool to have anyway. And
They
they're
did
from
back then.
several different eras there. And but last but certainly not least, you got the CD, the bonus CD, and this is live from Derby College in the UK.
Derby.
75. Got Fighting, Wild Ones, Still in Love with You, Suicide, Sha-La-La-La. I think there's 3 la-la-las there. I think there's 2 la-las previously. Anyway, Baby Drives Me Crazy and Me and the Boys. And cool about that, you get to hear some songs that got dropped from later live sets. So you get a nice range of their different lineups and
Yeah, it's a good set.
eras of the band. There's also interviews with the Bryans, Robertson and Downey, and Scott Gorham from 2007 when this was released. And I'd say it'd make us a nice compliment to the upcoming box set. So
It should be in there, shouldn't it? I mean, it should just be the definitive Live and Dangerous box set.
yeah, exactly. I was a little surprised to find that they didn't have any.
So was I when they announced it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Armando, what did you, if you don't mind me asking, what did you pay for the pre-order for that?
I don't mind you asking at all. It was quite for the. I'm quite happy to divulge.
I'm just curious because I know
$120.
I'm going to get it at some point, so I just got to figure out what I'm going to be paying for it. So
because of the conversion, the rate of conversion, it was 120.
Okay. And that's how many discs in that?
8.
Okay, so that's kind of like the Strangers in the Night UFO box set.
It's exactly the same kind of
Yeah,
thing.
and I don't
like it.
have. I've seen copies of Live and Dangerous around. I've never had it, so this is virgin territory
You
for
get the
me.
whole kit and caboodle right in one shot.
So there
Oh,
you
wow.
go. This
Getting
is
it all.
virgin territory for me, so I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, you will love that.
And now you got to get this too.
Eventually, yes.
Well, this won't break your bank.
Yeah.
Can I make some enemies real
My
fast?
bank is blown up. Never mind, broke.
Can you
Tell me
afford
you're
more
saying you
enemies,
like Thin
Jamie?
Lizzy.
Can you afford more?
What's up, Jamie?
Let me make some enemies real fast. I like Thin
Go for
Lizzy.
it.
I got a bunch of their albums, but I'm going to put them, UFO. Pete's going to hate me, and anyone
Uh-oh.
else out there giving me the
Uh-oh.
finger right now, and Cheap Trick, and any other band I can think of later, as at the same time they're underrated, but at the same time they're a bit overrated. All three bands, I think, underrated by society, overrated by their fans.
Yeah, well, that happens
Me
with bands
going
who
to
maybe
hiding
should
right
have been
now. I
bigger.
mean, it's like, I mean,
No, I think that's a fair comment.
Well, I think any fan is going to overrate their favorite band, right? I mean,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I think what you're saying is you don't dislike them. You just,
No, but society should know them better. Thin Lizzy should be known for much more than just 2 songs, Jailbreak and The Boys Are Back in Town.
Well, there you go.
But then you get, all the people that when they get together and they talk about some of these songs on other albums, I'm like, yeah, it's decent. Okay.
That's interesting though, because over here, Thin Lizzy, obviously, you would know just about every song that Scott rattled off there, even if you weren't a big fan, because they were just so insanely huge. Whereas Cheap Trick, you would only know 1 song over here, 2 songs. In fact, you wouldn't even know Surrender if you were over here. That was never hit here.
yeah, it was
Oh,
huge.
damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
it was huge. Yeah.
Cool.
that was
All
kind of
right,
interesting.
Davey.
Prince Harry's ought to done that. Maybe
We're
it's
in the
good. I don't
book.
know. I don't know. Yeah.
Basically,
And that
Davey,
cover
he's
is
got 2
awful.
free copies for anybody who wants to send a message down below, and he'd be happy to share them.
Oh, that's a good idea, and I could say in it, couldn't I? Prince Harry. That'd be, yeah.
Okay.
And Megan Sparkles, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
The girl from Suits. I probably shouldn't just say that the girl from Suits. That's probably an art name. I was going to talk about this album, but I listened to it back, and there wasn't too much to say, so I'm just going to toss it out there because the front cover always makes me smile. It's by a German band called Wallenstein, and it's a progressive album, krautrock album from the early 70s, and it's called Mother Universe. Who wants to see what sexy Mother Universe looks like?
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
It looks like Mother Nature.
That is good to see Mother Nature's son.
That was
But,
seriously what they went with?
That is Mother Universe. It's the lead singer's grandmother, bless them.
And that's fine, but why would you
know
put an
you'd
album out in
think the
70s
guys would have
with
said,
your
"Look,
grandmother on it?"
your granny's lovely, but I'm just not sure she epitomizes the whole sum of the galaxy."
Right, like
They
any
could've combed her hair for the
They're gonna be
shoot.
like, what is that? Is it children's fairy tales? It's
I
like,
know it looks more like the cover for like elderly abuse booklet or something. You'd see it, just in the library, and you go, "Oh, we better pick that up for her."
I mean,
If
they
she
could've
falls
put
down
a
the
flower
stairs.
in her hair or something, like make it
Yeah.
look more.
Well, maybe that's the message of the album, and it's not, because they never
It
actually
looks like
returned
a magazine ad for Depends.
Yeah. Do you ever piss your pants at night and can't get down the stairs? Just that, that kind of stuff. But the great thing is, and this isn't even my pick, but I'm still going on about it. This is a fantastic bloody record. It's on YouTube, so Google Wallenstein Mother Universe. It's if you like Cressida, if you like early Van de Graaff, and you want to mix that with some krautrock, Mother Universe, bless her, by Wallenstein. Just it's a good
lots
blood.
of Hammond organ, right, Davey?
Yeah, full of Hammond, absolutely full of Hammond. And because it's a German release as well on Zyx Records, ZYX, everybody's on lead vocals, which is all one word with a K for vocals, backing vocals, Okay. Drums. Assuming that's drums. So yeah, but it's a really good listen. They do sing in English, so and it's well done too. You wouldn't know they weren't a British or American band. It's really really interesting album. I just think I don't think the album cover probably sold it. So my actual pick, because I wanted to tie it in Mother Universe. I wanted to tie it in with my beloved mother, because my mother, bless her, knows fuck all about music. She's one of those boomers who was obsessed with music as a teenager, and then had a family, and just music stopped. One of those kind of, and then she maybe picks up one new song every 5 years that she likes. And it'll be by somebody like Michael Bublé or something. One of those kind of. She's one of those kind of people. Somehow she knows about this mammoth release, and I didn't. Right. By one of my favorite bands, and she had the ups on this, and I was completely in the dark. Peter, you reviewed the standard edition on your channel. I didn't even know there was a deluxe edition, and she did.
It's the photo on the cover. She thought it was geared toward her generation.
It is Creedence Clearwater Revival Traveling Band, been a box set. So the Royal Live at the Royal Albert Hall that came out last year. You can only get this from Craft Recordings. It's the only place to sell it. It's not available on Amazon. It's not available on Creedence's website. Only from Craft Recordings, or one of those kind of boutique labels, limited to 1,000. And what you get in this is you get. I'll open it. Or you get my receipt, which I've kept that. So one of those kind of annoying ones though, where you wish to put the wee ribbon at the corner so you didn't need to tip it over every time. So you get obviously your vinyl record as well, so you get the whole thing in vinyl. And you get Keep Calm and Chuggle On sticker. Fucking hell. Right, I won't open this all right up, but you get one of those old vintage, really Fillmore looking, Bill Graham looking posters just for the London event, and we didn't really get those kind of posters here, as you'll see from the tour program. This was the exciting tour program. The Royal Albert Hall gave Creedence Clearwater Revival. Doesn't that tell you everything you need to know about CCR?
Didn't even put the logo on there,
And it's got the worst picture of John Fogerty I think I've ever seen in my life. It looks absolutely terrible. Pull this up here, right?
Oh yeah.
What's going on?
What the hell?
What is that?
It's like a bad yearbook photo.
Prince
Valiant. Your grandmother.
Like,
For some reason, like,
yeah. It's like, who gave him that fucking haircut? I think that was his brother who hated him. And bless him, he just got the rights back to his own bloody music after 50 years the other week. Did you?
Yeah, that's right. I read that.
You get big photo booklet, which is phenomenal. And then on disc for the first time, so you get the CD that Pete reviewed, but then you get the soundtrack to the movie that was released concurrently with the album, which is essentially, there's nothing unreleased on it, but it even goes back to like the Gollywogs and stuff. Can you even say that now? Well, that was the name of the band. Yeah, it's not very PC to say anymore, but that was their name. So the first band that they were in, they're on there. It goes back to the real early stuff, and then it's got stuff that's not on the live concert. And you get the whole movie that's on Netflix. You get that on Blu-ray. And this is the only place the Blu-ray is out. It's only in this box set. They've not released it independently. I don't know why, but it's in this box set, as well as the whole concert in 5.1, the whole concert in stereo, and the soundtrack in 5.1 and stereo as well. So you get just about everything you could possibly want. Pete reviewed the actual album itself, so I won't review the actual music, because it's just the only thing is some of my favorite Creedence music came out the next year. So I'd love to have heard Lodi and in fact that whole little run they had, wrote a song for everyone. There's like a 5-track run in that album. It's gorgeous stuff, and Fogerty he could sing my death certificate and make me like it. But yeah, and then you get big run. Keep on Chuggling is the closer, and that's a big workout version of Keep on Chuggling. But yeah, so before it sells out, if people are Creedence fans, you need to get on this and Craft Recordings. It's so lovely embossed. And I think it's limited to thousands. So jump on it. It's not,
1,000?
yeah, this is number 653 of
How many?
1,000. Yeah. So, and at the moment, that's the only way to get the bloody movie as well in hard copy. You know, so if you want to watch the Creedence movie and you want to have the stuff on 5.1, this is the only place to do that, and get the vinyl as well, and the CD. So it's pretty much the definitive set. And somehow my mother knew about this. Who the fuck did she know about this?
Does she have a Netflix account?
The only thing I can think of is that she asks someone, you know, like Facebook, one of my friends or something, because there's no way she would.
I mean,
what
I
would
saw
she be doing on
I
Craft
saw a
Recorders
Craft
website?
ad for it on Facebook. Is the only way I knew about it. So
That's
now-
how I
Yeah.
knew about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
said
Why?
for
I mean,
her
it's
music
monumental.
stopped at a certain point, but I mean, this is music of her era, right? I mean,
Yeah, but Creedence weren't massive. They
they
had
weren't
some
so big
hits.
in the UK.
No, they were big, but they weren't massive. I mean, they played
Not
Royal
like-
Albert
not
Hall, for
like in
goodness
the
sake.
States.
But they weren't. Yeah, they weren't. I mean, in America, they had more success in the singles charts than they did in the albums charts, which is kind of
For
bizarre.
about
'Cause I
2
always
years,
think
they were killing it. Yeah.
yeah, and I've never understood why they're not called America's band, because to me, it's the most American sounding band in the history
Yeah.
of everything.
I would, yeah, I would agree
Maybe
with
just
that,
because they have
Yeah.
a brief, they were
I think
around
so.
for so little.
Yeah.
You know.
It's a young country. But yeah, it's a phenomenal release of a phenomenal live album, a phenomenal concert film, and now just a phenomenal set. Not sure about the keep on chuggling, you know, keep calm and keep on chuggling sticker, but yeah, you can put that wherever you like.
I want
Maybe.
my money back.
Yeah, keep that with your Mother Universe by Wallenstein CD.
Cool.
Uh,
Awesome. Yeah, that's a good stuff. Good stuff. All right, Jamie.
All right. About 7 or 8 years ago, I was in FYE. That is for your entertainment store. They're closing down. We still have one in Columbus, Ohio. They're the mall store, the last surviving mall record store. But their inventory of physical media has been shrinking over the last 6 years, and they've been selling more toys and T-shirts and things like that. They got to do what they got to do to stay alive, even though they're kind of on life support. But their prices are ridiculous when you go in there. Most things are just jacked up in price. But if you know how to kind of utilize that store, you can get things there. Like, for example, they have a closeout section, you know, and everything is like way cheap. I got a Ministries double, triple live CD for 50 cents. I got this Terminator box set. You know, it's the shitty Terminator Genesis, but it's got the skull in there. $5. $5. And I was in there a few months ago, and there is a hard to find Event Horizon 4K Steelbook that cost $100 on eBay because they sold out so fast. When I was in there, I was going through their movies. I'm like, I bet you, I sense it. They have one still sitting around for sticker price. There it was for $30. So it serves its purpose, the store, for me. And when I was in there 7 years ago, they had a closeout on vinyl. And it was a Megadeth Countdown to Extinction picture disc. And they wanted like $10 for it. Like, $10, I'll grab it. Well, lo and behold, I found out not too long ago, the thing sells for $100 now. This is getting into the mind of this collector, at least. Well, okay, it's worth $100, but I still saw it as that $10 closeout item. It didn't have that special. I didn't go looking for it. I didn't drop the $100 on it. So it was still that closeout, silly little picture disc to me. So I'm like, I'm going to sell this son of a bitch. So I put it on Facebook, and somebody wanted it. It took about 3 weeks for someone to really bite, and he bought it for $100. Now I got that 100. I met him in a Walmart parking lot, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to put this on the wall." All right. So I didn't feel like I lost much, but I got that $100 in my hand. Now, what do you do with that $100? As a collector, I could put that in my wallet, piss it away on a bag of potato chips and some gas there and a bottle of water there, and before you know it, it's gone. And then you see that album again, you go, oh, I used to have that. And someone goes, oh, you traded it? Yeah, what did you trade it for? Gas and some water and some things that are gone. No. You got to take that $100 and you got to act fast, because you will piss it away if you don't act fast. And you got to go replace that item with another cool item. So now you can say, I replaced it with this. So I went right to the record store right afterwards, Used Kids Records, the one my buddy owns. And I saw, I have this on CD, Coma of Souls by Creator. It's my favorite Creator album, and I think one of the best thrash metal albums from that era. But they had up on the wall from 1990 a sealed copy still with the hype sticker, never opened. And I said, how about that? Thrash for thrash, 90s thrash for 90s thrash. Give me that. I had to throw in an extra $20. So now I got the thing. Move over, bacon. Here's Sizzling. Old school, going deep on that one.
Yeah, you are.
Maybe he has no idea what I'm talking about. Yeah, Google,
bacon
YouTube that. So now I got the replacement. And here's the thing. I talk about playing the vinyl, the original vinyl, screw the CD. I ain't opening this. There is no way I'm opening this. And I think, some music like jazz, like proto metal, benefits from listening to it on vinyl. There's just that extra warmth on vinyl that gives that music even more warmth and charm that it already has.
It won't matter with Creator.
Things. What's that, Pete?
It won't matter with Creator.
No, it doesn't matter with bands like Creator. And I'll use this as an example. I brought up Ministry. A few years ago, I bought a 9 Inch Nails album and a Ministry album, Pretty Hate Machine and Psalm 69 on vinyl. They were newer pressings, recent pressings from, 2005 maybe. And I brought them home and I was playing them. I was like, this ain't vinyl music. This doesn't even make sense to be listening to this on vinyl. This industrial thing has to be on a silver, cold, steel-looking CD with no surface noise whatsoever. So I sold them both. And I'll listen to my CDs when it comes to that kind of music. And I think this matters too. So I'm not going to listen to it. And then you got people, it's 50-50 sometimes down the line. Do you open it? Do you don't? You're going to die soon. Just open it and listen to it.
Uh-oh.
Didn't think it was going to die that soon.
Wow. Couldn't have timed that
Jamie.
better.
Jamie, come back to us.
The end of the story, man. Come on.
Does anyone know CPR? Oh, I know CCR. That was my last pick, but I don't know CPR.
Jamie, speak to me.
Oh man.
Come back to us. Sorry.
All righty. Well, we'll have to wait a few minutes, hopefully, to get the end of the Creator story. So Armando,
So while he's jumping,
Wait,
here he comes.
he's back.
Oh,
Jamie?
well, maybe.
Are you back?
Oh, you're glitching like hell,
I
Jamie.
think we lost you, dude.
Jamie.
There we
I
go.
don't know what's going on my end of the world, but
So anyway, the moral of the story is you're not going to
Continue. Continue.
What's Armando? What's up with Armando? You can't find one of these online. I doubt it.
No,
See,
I was saying continue your story.
when did it cut me off?
when you were
Oh,
talking.
just
about
when you
whether
said you were
should
going to
open
die
it.
soon.
Right? Did I get to Godzilla yet?
Yeah,
No,
right after
no,
you're going to die.
This is an
Yeah,
unexpected twist in the tail here, Jamie. How does Godzilla, the great monster kaiju, figure into this?
What the fuck did I say? Jesus, it was good. Pete, you got Godzilla figures.
Yes.
That's what I was saying.
Yes.
And when you watch when you look at the Godzilla figure, this was better on the first take. The figure isn't playing the movie for you. You just look at the figure and enjoy the figure. This is when an album becomes a figure or a figurine.
That's a good point.
Yes. And did you hear me talk about 9 Inch Nails?
Yes, we got that bit. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Heard that part.
Fuck. Let me
That's
before I
old
get cut
material,
out again.
Jamie. Come on, we want the news.
Losing light bulbs, I'm losing internet.
Cool.
It happens.
Yeah, so you got to put that album up on the wall now. That's where.
Yes, it stays up on the wall. Yes. Yep.
Not bad. Well, you figure you paid $10 for the Megadeth, right? You sold it for $100, so you made kind of $90 there, and then you paid $20. You took that $100 and paid $20 extra. So
30.
I think you did okay.
Yeah, this cost me $30 in the long run.
Yeah, not too bad.
You know, one thing about that documentary
way
that's
of
kind
looking
of
at it.
inspired Jamie's choice is the unspoken villain of the piece, who's not in the movie. I don't want to sell it on him. Is Geddy Lee, because two or three people mentioned that they've had a conversation with Geddy Lee about vinyl being better, and they all say that Geddy Lee basically told them to shut the fuck up, and the CDs were the best things in sliced bread, and CDs are amazing. CDs,
Really?
CDs replicate exactly
Okay.
what he wants things to sound like, and you'll always have the same experience if you listen to the CD. They can control it. It doesn't rely on you picking up a pristine copy. It just needs to work, and that will be fine. There's like 2 or 3 of them, isn't there, Jamie? Where they have Geddy Lee stories bizarrely. It's as if Geddy Lee was just chasing around record collectors at some point, telling them to switch to CD.
Yeah. The anti Neil Young.
Yeah.
Yes, and they bring that up as well, that Neil Young hates CDs and loves vinyl, and they start cheering Neil Young and booing Geddy Lee in a battle of the Canadians. So it's been a very Canadian episode today.
I like both vinyl and CD. I have many of both.
Yeah, as you said, some stuff sounds better. Jazz sounds better on vinyl.
Yes, it does.
It's got a warmer, more open sound. Thrash
As someone who
doesn't
had
make a difference.
vinyl for many years, I appreciate vinyl. To me, it's kind of inconvenient and it's fragile, and you can only play it at home. And
I don't miss it.
I always said in the 90s when I was buying a lot of comic books off the rack, I always said, my God, if they ever somehow combine the addiction of buying comic books with music, I'm in trouble. Well, vinyl is kind of that combination. And guess what? I'm in trouble every day.
I get that.
I just find CDs for me physically are easier to handle. And
it's that too, yeah.
Musically, I mean, yes, there's that crisper sound, the digital sound, whatever. But
Well, I think if something was done, during the vinyl era, recorded during that era, I can see why it would sound better on vinyl. If it's recorded during the digital age, the CD age is going to sound better on CD most likely.
Well, I mean, it also comes down to your own equipment as well. I mean, you can put in a UHQR super vinyl, and it's going to sound like crap if you're playing it on one of these new turntables that are made in China with parts that they just don't manufacture anymore. Or you can put it in a Bang & Olufsen, and it'll sound absolutely phenomenal. But
those early Maiden albums on vinyl, I think, benefit big time. I have original pressings of all of them in mint condition. And the first time I bought Peace of Mind and played it, I swear to God, a tear came down my cheek. It sounded that good.
Yeah, I had all those back in the day. They did sound really good.
And then you need to worry about using the right cartridge and is your style, So I mean, they're expensive too because they know it's such a premium hobby these days.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. Way too expensive. I mean,
I dropped $200
look at it 3 times what a CD costs.
Yeah, I mean that's the ridiculous one. Is I think Armando and I were talking about it on Facebook a while back about the recent re-release of the Use Your Illusions by Guns N' Roses, and the CD version was like $250, but if you wanted the exact same thing on vinyl, it was like $650. It's like
I stopped buying new releases.
Yeah, like 90s albums to get.
You find something 90s on vinyl. Yeah.
When I saw it was $650 for the Use Your Illusion on vinyl, I thought, no. No. That was the only word that came to my head was no.
High. That sounds high.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
I don't even buy new releases on vinyl anymore because they put like 2 or 3 songs on each side and make everything a double album, and you gotta constantly get up, and and then the value of it's kind of like it doesn't. You lose that comic book thing going on, collectible. It's just a pain. I buy new releases on CD most of the time, and then I go buy older things on vinyl.
Cool. All right, Armando.
Okay, well, before I begin, I'm just going to say, give a quick shout out to Martin Popoff, because I yesterday got my copy of the Pink Floyd book, and yes, and it is beautiful. Just beautiful. So I'm going to dive into that today and enjoy.
Sure, if it's
So
like the Bowie book that they did a couple months ago, that's gorgeous.
Ye-
Too. Sure.
Yeah.
it is bloody amazing just from the look of it. Oh.
And it
just got a
says on this
Zeppelin
one, it
book.
says to Jamie, quote unquote, you better run, ... like hell. Is he putting a shout out to Pat Benatar? Oh, I thought
Yeah,
you were all
deployed.
frozen, not
Yeah.
moving. I thought I froze
No.
again.
You-
You guys
Good.
weren't even
It's a
breathing.
John
You were
Keel
listening
lyric
with
to me,
intense
but-
anticipation, Jamie.
Yes, no, it's
Yeah, I don't know if that was a shout out to Pat Benatar or not.
I think it was.
All right.
Well, I can't see Martin sitting listening to
who
Pat
the hell-
Benatar, I'm sorry.
Who the hell doesn't
Okay.
know that you're like the biggest Pat Benatar?
Yeah, but they say you better run in the lyrics, but he
I
did
know
put
that,
quotes
but-
around
yeah,
it,
but
so
he
I don't know.
paused, right? He's got
it's a reference
He
to Pat
paused.
Benatar. He does
Yeah.
that all the time.
Martin's very clever. I'm sure that's a Pat Benatar reference.
Yeah.
Pat Benatar is underrated by society and overrated by fans.
We have done a lot of plugging for the Bloody Contrarians today, haven't we? Between
okay.
the Barton Popoff's book and Marco's documentary.
And
Okay.
another plug, tune in next Sunday for ranking the albums of Pat Benatar starring Jamie and myself. So there's another plug.
A dream come true.
There you go.
Oh, she got any
I'll
good
say
albums?
this: she still kills it in concert, man. I saw her back in October, and my wife and I loved it. It was a great show.
Cool. All right, Armando.
Okay. For my last choice, we're going to go to Australia. And this is a CD that I've had for around, I bought in May, but it got lost in the shuffle. Again, I've said it before, I have what's called collector's attention deficit disorder, where, well, this is for me, I'm not speaking for anyone else on the panel, but for me, I'm starting to realize that I look forward to a package coming in, I get it, and then I move on. Look, a shoe. I move on to something else, and
Looking forward to the next hit.
the CDs kind of get lost in the shuffle. This is from a band. I'm going to show this. I'm going to do my best to hold it up to the camera. This is from a band named Arcane from Australia. This is this is an offshoot from the guitarist and lead singer of the band named Jim Gray from a group. The main group that he's in is Caligula's Horse, and they're a progressive metal band from Australia. He has 3 albums under the name Arcane. The first one is Ashes from 2007. The second album is, one second here, guys, why do you name your album so long? Like, long names. The second album is The Chronicles of the Walking Dream from 2009.
That's not too bad.
Like,
That's
it's
not
not
bad.
too bad, but come on. Like, think about it here. This album it's called Known Learned. Known Learned. It came out in 2015. It's their last release. We've only done 3 releases, so I believe he's concentrating again on Caligula's Horse. And this release is on the Sensory label, which if you've lived in a cave, you must be living in a cave. If you don't know that Sensory label is from Ken Golden's label, who was in the Proxy on Tuesday nights. Tune in. The album, it's a double album, it's a double disc. There are 16 tracks, 8 per side, per disc, per side. Listen to me. It's, again, progressive metal, but there are other elements in it in terms of, it's very, very hard and heavy, like very hard, heavy hitting. Sorry, I can't speak today. But you also get other elements of acoustic piano and Spanish guitar on the album. The theme of the album is somebody questioning themselves, their life, their place in society. That they don't, they're questioning what they have to contribute to society as a whole, whether it's in personal relationships, whether it's in a work situation, whether it's like all of it all wound up together, mixed up together. The first disc talks, he's questioning himself, like basically, what do I have to contribute? What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to my family or my girlfriend, or just overall. The second disc is he's basically coming to grips with the fact that there's also a theme of the phrase home, and not so much home as in a physical structure. Home is in within oneself. He has to, where can you find the answers? And he's always saying home is where the answers are. And he's talking about within himself. Okay. And in terms of his vocal delivery, I cannot even begin to describe as a comparison who, he's an original, even as the band as a whole. The guitarist is, I believe he pronounces his last name, it's Michael Cajun. And he is just a monster on the guitar. Just the musicianship on this album, amazing. And I really don't understand why this wasn't as big as it could have been, or it should have been. I got this off of Discogs, and I got it literally through Laser CD. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want, I know you're watching, go to Discogs and look for, in the listings, look for Laser CD. That's Ken Golden. They'll send it to you. I got this within like 7 days of ordering it. So
He's really
this
quick.
is amazing. It's complex, but yet it's accessible at the same time. And also I got to point out the one track on here that is the focal point is the title track of Learned. It closes out disc 1. It clocks in at a mammoth 23 minutes and 16 seconds.
Ooh, epic.
Wow.
And it is, the whole album is brilliant, but this one track is bloody brilliant. I cannot say enough about it. So I got this again off of Discogs through Laser, from Laser CD. I got this, I paid, I think, $36 Canadian. So you're looking at $18 a disc. It is bloody worth it.
Yeah, it's out of print, I believe, right?
It is on Amazon.ca, right? But forget Amazon for this purchase. Go to Discogs and look for Laser CD. Get it directly from Ken Golden. You won't be disappointed.
Cool. Very cool. Nice to hear a little bit of progressive metal on this show. So cool. All
I
right.
was surprised too. So,
All right, my last pick here is kind of like a little group, a group of picks, but there's a theme. So I talked earlier on my previous pick about how much I love like kind of proto metal, and as kind of an extension on that, I'm a big Doom fan. I've kind of had this obsession with a little record label called Rise Above for quite a long time. So they have Rise Above and Rise Above Relics. Rise Above is for all the newer bands, kind of Doom, heavy rock, proto metal bands that come out. They release on Rise Above. For the archival stuff is Rise Above Relics. So I happened to go on their website, I don't know, like a month or so ago, and I saw there's a bunch of things that have come out like over the last couple of years that I just did not get. Silly me, right? So I said, well, I need to rectify that situation. So what I did was I placed an order and picked up some of the things that have come out that I have not previously had. And I'm extremely happy with my purchase there. So the first band, I believe they're from the UK. I got to remember where all these bands are from. But the band is called The Age of Taurus. All right. So they've got two CDs. One is called The Colony Slain.
Is this Relics or the other one?
These are all Rise Above. None of these are Relics, Jamie.
Okay.
These are all Rise Above. So these are all newer bands or current bands. So kind of looks like a black metal album, right? But it's not. It's progressive doom. And the other album is called Desperate Souls of Tortured Times. And this is the most, I believe is the most recent one. And that's what they look like there. If you love classic Black Sabbath, Candlemass, Pentagram, maybe Witchfinder General, maybe Trouble for sure. That's what you get here. Awesome guitar tone, heavy riffs, great vocals. That's really, really good stuff. And the music is kind of complex and proggy. So that's definitely maybe my favorite out of all these. Hard to say. The other bands, and again, I think these guys, I don't remember 100%. I think they're a UK band. The band is the Gates of Slumber. Okay, you got the Wretch. Again, if it's got skulls on the front, I generally like it. And then what is this one called? Hymns of Blood and Thunder. Look at that cover right there.
There's another band called Oceans of Slumber.
Yes, there is.
Frank Frazetta or something.
Yeah, it does look kind of Frazetta-ish, right?
Mhm.
So the Gates of Slumber, this is just really cool, like first 5 Sabbath album, kind of cool. First Black Sabbath albums. If you love that
Cool
old
covers.
early 70s proto and maybe early Pentagram as well. Really good. Dark, menacing doom metal. Great stuff. Then there's a band called Witch Skull. And Witch Skull, God, I forget where the hell they're from. I'm trying to keep track of where all these bands are from.
How did it take so long to get a band called Witch Skull?
I have
Seems
no
like
idea.
that should have happened a long time ago.
I have no idea. Coven's Will is this album. This album crushes with great like Sabbath Candlemass inspired riffing. The vocals are really cool. And
Looks like the devil rides out or something now.
totally right. Yep. And then a Driftwood Cross is the other album. And this is, I believe this is the most recent one. They're both excellent. This might even be my second favorite band of this little haul here. Then there's a Texas band, Houston, Texas, called White Dog. They are maybe less classic doom compared to that stuff and more like kind of proto metal psychedelic rock. I think Scott, you probably would really dig these guys quite a bit. There's a little bit of groove to their music. Again, the band is White Dog.
The album isn't screaming doom.
Did you sample these?
Totally it's not. What's that?
Did you sample these before you bought them, or did you go right off the cover, or did you?
A couple I did. A couple of the others I just bought because I've never been disappointed with anything I've gotten from Rise Above.
Well curated, yeah.
Really cool. And this is good because this is a little different. This is less doom, more of kind of just like 70s heavy rock, proto metal, psychedelic rock, a little bit of groove. Think like if you like some of the bands that are in Sweden right now that are doing that kind of like 70s type of thing, you probably really dig these guys quite a bit.
I need to go down this rabbit hole. ASAP.
Yeah, cool. It's I know. Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff. And then the last one.
I have a problem. I mean,
Make a note of it.
I'm going to go all the way to Finland for my last one here. But this is Friends of Hell.
Nice.
And so these guys are really going for the evil vibe. There you got the 666 and the upside down cross.
can I see that front cover again?
Yep.
It's a nun in flames.
Holy shit. Okay.
It looks a bit like Ozzy's
You holding
album
a gun or
cover
something?
almost.
What's
She
doing?
is holding a I don't know what she's holding. She's actually holding an upside down cross.
Oh, of course she is.
Oh, yeah.
And there's the guys in the band. This is very demented evil doom. Okay, but still really, really fun, very heavy.
What are the vocals like on there?
Good. They're kind of, none of the vocals are bad on any of these. They're kind of, gruff to the big soaring vocal type of thing.
Wouldn't it be interesting to find out that all those guys in their spare time were like pastry chefs and just did some stuff around that? You know what I mean? Like they present such a doomy image, and you know what I mean. But
I'm sure if you met them backstage, they'd be nice guys, just like
I'd
or
love it
swapping recipes or something.
If somebody had an album name like that, and then you listen to the album and it turned out to be like the Raspberries or something, that would just be amazing. Like just pure evil name, dark cover, witches, and all. Then you listen to it and it's bright sunny days. The Love and Spoonful.
Yeah, with synths and yeah.
So it's all really good. I would say probably, again, I've only had these for a couple of weeks, but I would say Age of Taurus and Witch Skull are my 2 current favorites, but I like the Gates of Slumber quite a bit. And then the White Dog is really good because it's different than the rest, and this is just kind of evil and very cool as well. But so all good stuff. If you love bands with lots of big riffs and like doom and all that kind of stuff and stoner metal, that's all well worth checking out. And there's a lot of other stuff on Rise Above that you can investigate as well. They're a really great label. Of course, because the former leader of Cathedral started up that label, and that's what he's into. So there you have it.
All right, cool.
There you have it. So
Sounds good.
there you have another episode of The Curse of the Collector. You've got a lot of stuff to check out and investigate from what you've seen and heard about here today. And I highly recommend, if you do have this curse we always talk about, to check out that movie that the guys were talking about that on YouTube. That's pretty eye-opening, actually. So,
Oh, you saw it, Pete?
I started watching it. It's so long. I'm like, I gotta
Yeah.
carve out time to watch. I skipped around a little bit and saw like a bunch of different guys, and I'm like,
You got the gist.
yeah, but I want to watch it a little bit more in depth.
It's on YouTube.
Yes.
It's on YouTube. Yep. Yeah. So if you go to the link to it, they posted in the
Let's get physical.
Let's get physical.
yes, let's get physical. I'm like,
Check it out today. I got time.
no, that's right here. Come on, get it straight, Pete. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Visit on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube, all together, all the damn
All the damn
time.
time.
See you next month here on another episode of The Curse of the Collector. For Jamie Laszlo, Armando Venditti, Davey Gallagher, and Scott Berry, I am Pete Pardo. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow night on the Hudson Valley Squares. Take care.